So, how to choose a self-defense club? Now, I'm being very specific about that. It's a self-defense club, not a martial arts club. They are very separate things. I have released other videos, such as the Three Siblings video, where I go over match fighting, self-defense, martial arts. I'm not interested in match fighting or martial arts. I'm talking purely self-defense. So, self-defense is keeping ourselves safe and removing ourselves from the danger as quickly as effectively as possible, whilst taking as little damage as possible, none if we can help it. That's the objective of self-defense. The objective of match fighting is to beat the other person. The objective of martial arts is to study a certain syllabus of a handful of techniques per grading and to be able to demonstrate them to a technical standard where they give you a belt. So we're looking purely at self-defense. I've got a list here so I don't forget anything, but there's certain things we need to look at when we choose a self-defense club. So the first is, if it's a club that says it's insert name of martial art here, self-defense. We teach this, we fitness, confidence, self-defense. That seems to be a big thing that they always... Is it actually self-defense, or is it just that specific martial art and their techniques in genes? I have found countless clubs online, on YouTube, where they put the videos and say, well, this is our club and this is our self-defense technique of the week, and it is literally the usual stuff they'd be doing, just now they're wearing jeans and a polo shirt. That doesn't make it self-defense. The idea is, with self-defense, awareness, avoidance, aggression. We want to be aware of it before we're there. A lot of martial arts techniques, unfortunately, are, once you've been grabbed here, do this. Good self-defense is spot the threat coming so they don't get close enough to you to grab you. So that's one thing. Make sure that when they say it's self-defense, it's not just match fighting. Or then even worse, match fighting but in outside clothing, where it's still the same techniques that won't work anyway, but now they're saying it's self-defense. Like, oh, okay. No, martial arts and self-defense are two separate things. Be very, very clear to make that distinction. Is their self-defense syllabus just their regular techniques in different clothing? Next thing, will they let you take a taster class? Yeah, a test class. During the test class, even if they make you sit at the side and watch, this is still a good thing. It's worth your time. It's worth watching an hour's class before signing up and being stuck with them. So a good self-defense class should go over certain things. It should go over how to deal with an adrenaline dump. You get a rush of adrenaline. Oh, I'm scared. They should go over little techniques of how to get over that. Certain things like repeating a mantra to yourself of, I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. Certain things of taking a nice deep breath, holding it, and then relaxing. So in through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. That will steady everything and calm it down, and it will stop the flow of adrenaline into your system. It's the adrenaline rush, it's that flood of adrenaline into our body that we often mistake for fear. So if we can control that, we can stop what we essentially believe to be fear. Just swilling any liquid, so it could be if you've got a bottle of water or whatever around your mouth, or spittle if you can get saliva into your mouth, and just swill it around your gums, because it tricks the brain into thinking that there's no real danger and it'll stop that adrenaline rush so you won't feel afraid. Just little things like that. Tapping your foot to an imaginary beat, it uses up the adrenaline so it stops coming. Just little things like that. Do they go over that? Do they go over techniques to do that? What type of techniques do they train with awareness to keep you aware of your surroundings? Do they actually go over certain things you can do to heighten your awareness? You can build peripheral vision. No matter how bad your eyesight is, you can build peripheral vision. Do they go over this? Do they go over certain things to spot with somebody, such as the way they're stood, their body language? Are they stood square onto you, or are they sort of turned to the side with a hand hidden behind the side of their leg? That usually indicates that they've got a weapon in that hand and they're about to clobber you with it. Do they go over, there's certain telltale signs that a person will exhibit before they attack. So everything will come to single syllables. Yeah, so, and, what? They'll lean forward. Their head will start to sort of peck forward. Their arms will go out wide and splay. They're ballooning. In the animal kingdom, you balloon to be, I'm bigger than you, get away. They'll do this. It won't be a conscious thing they're doing. It will just naturally happen because they're gearing up ready to scrap. If I give you a list of 5 things that I was going to do, and I said, between the 5th and 6th thing, the 6th thing is I'm going to clobber you. I would like to think that by the time I got to the 2nd or 3rd thing that I've already told you, you would go, oh, this is it, this is the list, and you would either then move yourself out of range or you would clobber me first. You wouldn't just stand there and go, oh, he's got 5 things, then he's going to hit me. Right, so are they going over that? How much time do they dedicate, whether it be to each individual session or once a week or once a month, to the law? It's alarming to me how many clubs say, this is a self-defense club for real, out on the street scrapping, but they've got no idea what the law is. You know, there's people that say we're a self-defense club, and then they teach you must wait for the other guy to attack you before you do anything, which I've gone over in most of the videos here. You don't ever wait for them to go first. Once you've gone through the fence and you've got the signals, you go first. Trying to fight back is a losing effort. You're fighting uphill. Do they go over the crime statistics? Do they go over the crime statistics for the area you live in? You know, do they go over Office of National Statistics saying most recent thing was this is a trend that's starting with crime. This is the most recent thing to be aware of and to look out for. Do they go over any of that? You know, when you're training, how often do they say, okay, next class, don't wear your gi, come in wearing shorts and flip flops? Do they go, next week you need to come in wear jeans, a big winter coat, and your wellies? You know, do they say, right, come in wearing your winter gloves and see if you can still get the same grips, because that's what you're going to encounter when you're outside and having to defend yourself? Are they going over any of that? If not, then again, it's a martial arts club telling you that martial arts techniques will work in self-defense. Some will. There's a slight overlap. I've already gone over that in the other video, the 3 siblings. But for the most part, we're looking at very different things. It's a very different objective, and a different objective requires a different application of said techniques. Another thing to do, and this applies for most clubs, not just self-defense, is how approachable is the instructor. So there was a club that I went to a few years ago, and it was a style that I actually quite like. I hold the style itself very high esteem. But I went in through the door. The instructor was teaching a kids class. 3 or 4 of his students were on the other side of the room. They did their best to look at me like I was a piece of dirt and then ignore me. So maybe it was their first session, but I have to imagine that it wasn't their first session. So is this the type of attitude that is bred here? That if someone comes through the door, you do your best to ignore them and blank them. When I was at the judo club, I always made a very, very concentrated effort. If it was your first time through the door, I would come up to you and go, hey, how are you? I'm James. Great to see you. Have you ever done this before? Blah, 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 blah. I would then be the one teaching you break falling. But I made it damn sure that as soon as you were through the door, you were greeted by somebody that wasn't a black belt, as I wasn't, and I would greet you, make you feel comfortable. I would ask you about yourself. Then once I had given you the break falling session, when you then went off to train with other people in the room, I would keep an eye on you. I would pass you and give you a thumbs up, make sure everything's going okay. That was the attitude that was bred in that club. The instructor himself completely ignored me until it was time to come around and take my money off me. Needless to say, it was the one and only time I ever went to that specific club. Now, the style was an effective style, and he's a very, very effective instructor. But that wasn't for me. That wasn't the environment I wanted to put myself into. So how approachable is the instructor is a big one. It's a very important thing. How friendly, again, how friendly is everybody in the club? How approachable are the other students? Is it bred, is an attitude there bred and cultivated of we're well solid, therefore we can't be friendly because smiling is a weakness. And these are clubs you don't want to be part of. And this is a generic thing for all types of clubs, but again, it applies. So for self-defense, again, how much weapon work is done? Now, I'm not a fan of teaching people how to use weapons, but you should have something up here for if someone pulls this weapon, if someone pulls that weapon. Now, being in Britain, gun defense isn't a huge deal. However, knife defense and edged weapons is. So there has to be a certain part of the syllabus dealing with knife and edged weapons. These are things you need to ask. How much stuff is done based on don't take a shortcut down a dark alley? How much stuff with legitimate self-defense? How much stuff is given over to common sense that a lot of people don't have? So if you're in a car park, park as close to the actual entrance as you can. Park under a light if you can. Park right up against the fence if it's on the pavement so people can see you if you can. Just little things like this. It sounds ridiculous, but it's self-defense. It's keeping yourself safe. It's stuff that some people don't go over, and that's, to me, that's bad. It's like teaching a boxing club and then not explaining to people how to actually wrap their hands properly. Yeah, it might not be the most glamorous aspect of it. Everybody wants the self-defense. They want the techniques. They want let me get in there and physically do some damage. That's not the be-all and end-all of it. Because for good self-defense, you'll probably have a toolkit of about 5 actual physical responses that you will drill and drill and drill. But it's the common sense approach. It's knowing, looking at somebody walking towards you, is that person going to be a baddie? It's knowing, walk down the street, don't walk right up against the wall when you turn a corner because you'll bump into somebody. It's, stepping out so you've got clearance. It's knowing, don't walk around with your hood up and the headphones and shuffling along looking at your feet. It's knowing, once you get in the car, lock the doors. Yeah, it's not being afraid of the world. It's not being paranoid. It's knowing that crime happens. This is the crime that happens more often than not. This is the simple steps we need to take to stop that crime happening to us. So I feel like this has gone on to a bit of a rant. Any questions, comments, queries, or suggestions, let me know. If you agree or disagree with anything in the video, let me know. If there's anything you would like me to cover, if there's something you think I missed out from this that is a huge part of it, again, let me know, and I'll do my damnedest to get a reply to you as soon as I can. So, train safe, stay safe,